Hey guys,
welcome back to another episode of Faith Over Fear podcast. So for today, we have a very special guest, someone that we consider a friend and someone that we consider that has the sweetest heart, and we're super excited to hear her testimony, to hear her spiritual walk. So we're going to go ahead and bring her in.
Hi, my name is Daniela. I'm from Fort Worth, born and raised. I'm 20.
No, yeah, that's good.
Okay.
I feel like our friendship kind of like just blossomed out of nowhere because you are very young, much younger than me. So it's like I didn't really like grow up with you. You know what I mean? Because I feel like we're in two different seasons. But I feel like the way that it just happened, at least for me, we were serving together, with district events. That I just sat next to you whenever we had to do like the registration. And then from there, like, since like I mentioned, you're someone that's like really sweet and you're like very open to like talk to anybody. I felt comfortable like experiencing serving in a district for the first time with someone that it was your first time too. So I feel like we were navigating that together. So that was pretty cool. And then like before we start with you, I kind of want to give like a little backstory into like why you're a guest today in the first place. So it happened in a district event. It was NextGen, what right? NextGen event. And at least for me, my point of view is that like I was sitting behind you because you were like in the front rows and I was like a little bit more towards the back, and I was just like doing my thing. We were in the worship area and I just kind of like looked, because sometimes when people are in the altar, you kind of tend to look like a little bit, and I saw you, and then I was like, I just saw like this radiation, like this light, and I was like, como que for me it kind of felt like I needed to pray for you. You know what I mean? Because I just saw like something like beaming, and I was like, oh wow, like, but I wasn't surprised because like I said, you're someone that's just like very like sweet, and you're someone that's like loves God, and I've been seeing that. And so fast forward to the altar call, I didn't go and pray for you, but I feel like God needed me to, because then they said pray for the person next to you. But plot twist, you came to me first. And then I was like, wait, I know that voice, and it's Daniela. So like I opened my eyes. I think we both opened it at the same time. And I just started praying over you. I was like, what? That's so crazy. That is like God needed me to pray for you, that I didn't go, so you came to me. And so I just started like saying what God had to say pretty much, and it was like a really cool out of body experience, because other previous guests, they had mentioned about whenever God gives you that that feeling to pray for someone. So it was a very beautiful moment. And it's funny because I asked you to be a guest during the altar call. Like my prayer, one of the sections of my prayer was be like, would you like to be a guest on the podcast? Because it, like, I felt in my spirit that your testimony needed to be heard. And then whenever I said that, if you don't mind me saying, you said that this was a confirmation. You know what I mean? So before we get into that night, I want to back forward. And if you don't mind, like, telling us your introduction to God. Were you someone that grew up in the church? Or, like, are you first generation, second generation? So if you don't mind kind of, like, starting wherever you want to start in the beginning of your testimony.
Alrighty. Wow. Yeah, that night was, like, by far, like, I hope I get a chance to talk about it later, like the other POV.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But, no, I was presented at this church specifically, but the thing about it was that my mom, like we talked about earlier, but she was involved when she was younger, but since then she hasn't really returned to church, or at least not this church specifically. But my grandma has always been here, and she's like a faithful member, and I love my grandma. But so growing up, I don't know how to explain it. So my parents, like biological parents, are not together. So it was kind of like one weekend, like my mom would have us and my grandma would be like, oh, can I take them to church on Sunday? And we would go, and then the next weekend it would be like, oh, I'm with my father, like I can't really go anywhere, I have to be with him.
Yeah.
And I'll probably talk about that later. It was a different environment for sure that kind of shaped where I am now. And so so I'd grow up and I'd go off and on. Like when I was younger, it was hard to go too because it was mainly Spanish.
Yeah.
And when I was younger, I was shamed a lot, like on my father's side, because I didn't know much Spanish. So when I would come here, it was like, I don't really know. Like I just kind of claimed that I didn't know Spanish. So I was like, I don't know what y'all are talking about. But I would just come anyways because
Yeah.
afterwards my grandma would take us to McDonald's.
Yeah. Oh.
But it would be like me and my siblings growing up. And then it wasn't until I want to say COVID happened that at the time we were living with my grandma. Like I would still go to my father's, but my mom was living at my grandma because of a certain situation. And we were there, and when COVID starting and like everything was shutting down, like it was kind of a while, like it was a long period of time. But in the beginning of COVID, we were at my grandma's, and I remember my mom saying like, when this is over and like things open back up, we need to start going to church. Because like it was kind of like that fear moment, like, oh, like what is this world coming to?
Yeah.
And so after that, we ended up like things slowly started lifting up, and like it was funny because like I think about it now and I think it was funny, but like we'd have little services at home
Aw.
where me and my brother would wear like my grandma's batas because the church robes. And then like obviously we didn't know, like
Yeah.
we went, but we don't know like the
Yeah.
structure of it. And then my
Mhm.
grandma would just say like 5 minutes of just something that stuck with us. But it was it was hilarious. But eventually my mom met her current, like her husband now, and we ended up moving to, I want to say, well, yeah, we ended up moving to a new house. To kind of like wrap it up. It's been it was a lot that happened during COVID.
Yeah.
But we ended up moving to the new house, and I still didn't go back to church. I think they were having like parking lot services. Yeah. It was like, sorry. But yeah, they were having parking lot services, but I didn't go to those. But I know my grandma did, but I didn't. And then eventually, by the time COVID, I want to say it was I want to say a sophomore. I'm going to go with sophomore. I know I was in high school, but I was in my mom's house, and it kind of like a lot of things that were happening to me when I was younger kind of started clicking to me, and it made me enter this really, really dark place.
Mhm.
Like I felt like because I'm a very reserved person. I don't like talking about anything that's happening with me. I just put on a brave face, and it's like, okay,
Yeah.
smiles from here to here.
Right.
Like I'm that person in my family. Like if I ever have anything going on, like you just won't know. Like you can kind of tell, but even if you ask me, I'm not going to talk about it.
Right.
And that's just kind of how I am. I've learned to be more open and to kind of like try to trust people. But based on experiences, it's been really hard to.
Mhm.
And I feel like I have trusted the wrong people, and that's why I
Yeah.
am kind of like, or I was that way.
Right.
So I was in a really dark place. A lot of shame, a lot of guilt for everything that happened to me growing up. And I feel comfortable sharing it because it's something that I know that I'm healed from now. And it's
Mhm.
something that God called me out of. And it's the reason I'm here and the reason I am the person I am today. I get a little choked up because it's really recent. Like everything's happened really recently,
Mhm.
even leading up to like NextGen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really recent. But
Wow.
growing up, I was in a hurt child situation.
Oh, okay.
And it kind of goes to explain how, again, the separation of why I don't talk to my father anymore. So there's more down the line, and I feel comfortable because it's something God's got me out of. And it's something
Praise
that,
God.
like, I knew one day I'd be able to testify about.
Yeah.
And the way everything aligned, again, is like, I know that this is what I meant to say.
Right.
So it was a lot. But one of my closest cousins, she kind of introduced me to a lot of stuff when I was younger. And it was all on my father's side.
Right.
And she exposed me to a lot. And so basically I kind of, once I finally was realizing that it wasn't what a kid was supposed to be put in, like no kid should have ever been put in that position.
Right.
And I felt a lot of guilt because I was like, well, why didn't I say something? Like, why didn't I stop it before it became worse? Like, why didn't, like, this, and this happen? But it was like, I'm at a point where I know, like, it's not talked about much. Like, I feel like with molestation, you kind of hear more about, like, adult to child, but you don't hear a lot about child to,
Right.
another child.
Yeah.
So, and I never really heard of that, like, anywhere. And then, so it was something that I really, like, again, I dealt with kind of on my own, and I kind of just, like, consumed it. Like, it was just, like, that guilt that I would carry. And, like, I knew it was wrong, but I just didn't tell anyone.
Yeah.
Like I
Right.
wouldn't like own up to it. I wouldn't. And then it was also the environment I was in where everything was like hush hush.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, when COVID was around, we were in isolation. So it was me and my own thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
I started thinking, and I was like, I started hating myself for it. I started feeling really guilty about everything that just happened, and I was just in such deep shame about everything that was going on. I didn't feel the need to live anymore. I didn't want to, but I didn't want to hurt my family.
Right.
But I woke up every day wishing I didn't. And so it kind of, that's why I say thank God for my grandma. Like prayers are answered by God. Like I believe that wholeheartedly. So my grandma ended up inviting me to church one time, and I came, and like it wasn't like I wasn't really expecting anything. I was just like, oh, let me go, because I said I was like previously in COVID. Like I was like, oh yeah, I said I would go back, and I didn't know kind of what to expect from it, but I ended up coming, and I remember just at the end of the service, it was one of my great mentors now. Like I love her to pieces, just for who she's been kind of to me. Sister Melly, they had like a girl cellula, and she came up to me and she was like, hi, nice to see you. I want to invite you to our girl cellula. And she would tell us, because it was still kind of like COVID was still in everyone's mind.
Yeah.
And she was like, it's online, it's at this time, this day. And so I was like, okay, like I'll give it a try. And then like I told my cousin about it, and then I was like, yeah, like this is what it's doing. I was like, just join on with me. Like I don't know. Like I don't know what it is, but like do it with me.
Yeah.
And like and I also love it that it happened that way, because it's kind of one of the reasons I'm so close with my cousin now, because our moms don't really talk. I feel like I'm giving you all the lore. But our moms don't speak to each other. Like that's my favorite cousin.
Yeah.
So I thank God always, and I'm so grateful to him because of the way things worked out. Like I get to see my cousin at church.
Yeah.
I get to like serve with her alongside her and see her grow too. But so we kind of started going to the cellulas, and then they started moving them in person, and we just kind of like kept going. We kept going, and it really helped me a lot. It helped me learn like there's hope. It helped me learn like there's peace, like there's something, like I can be forgiven for what I went through and for like what I did too. So I was like, oh, like there's hope. And it really like resonated with me, and it took me forever to be like, okay, I'm gonna make that decision. Because it was like I suck at trusting people. Like if I know I can do it myself, like I'd rather do it for you. Like I'd rather do that than like put my trust into someone, because I know like people can fail. Like I'm really good at being like, I don't have much expectations.
Yeah.
Because it's like I know people will fail you. Like I was kind of talking to young people the other day. I was like, the reason like I'm like I don't see anyone in a light of perfection is because, besides Jesus obviously, but it's like because I know people fail. I was like, I know I'll fail. I was like, please don't ever put me on that pedestal, because I'm gonna fail you. And like I stick with that. So it kind of gave me hope, and I was like, like this is something I like doing. Like it was in my heart. And then I would just like pray, and then I was still living with my mom, and like things would come back. Like obviously like I would still get into my deep dark thoughts, but it was kind of helping me get out of that. And then eventually, I think it wasn't the first camp I went to, although I did like experience God's presence there, and I was like, I like this. But I think it was the second camp I went to. I can't remember what it was. I think it was the Rooted one. Rooted.
Yeah.
And it was then, because I had thought about baptism for the longest. But again, I'm like a really like slow, like, yeah. So I thought about baptism for the longest, but they had like a specific altar call. And I just remember like, I don't know who it was, but some lady was praying for me. And it just really made me, like, I remember after that, I went up to Brother Joaquin, and I was like, I want to be baptized. Like, that's when I kind of knew. I was like, this is what I want my life to be from now on.
Praise God.
And it was, everything happened, and, like, I got to see why things were happening for a reason. I mean, I still didn't open up about what had happened to me. Like, especially not at that time. Like, that's further down the road. Like, that was, like, 2 weeks ago. But, like, it kind of gave me hope, and that's where it started. Like that's where the journey kind of began. If that like if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, yeah, that is very powerful and that is very brave, you know. So thank you so much for like opening up, because I know that like it takes a time, you know what I mean? It takes time, because, and I feel like, you know, Sister Dacia, she even said it becomes a testimony once you like speak it.
Once you're able to
Yeah,
speak
once you're able
about
to
it.
speak about it. So this is just like so connected. Like it's just so cool
Yeah,
how
that's
everything's like
awesome.
one accord, you know what I mean? So that's really awesome. And thank you
Mhm.
so much for sharing, because I feel like, you know, sometimes, not sometimes, but I feel like there's an intention why God needed to bring a light towards that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it just kind of goes from there, you
Yeah.
know? So it's just something that, you know, you're not alone. And if anybody's listening, they're not alone. They have Jesus there. And then there's people that I know that God will be able to bring to you to be able to help you out, which is, you
Yeah.
know, community. And that's something that you've been experiencing in your local
Mhm.
church, you know, and it's something that I love seeing, because I know that you are their local youth president. So it's really nice to see that you're flourishing in leadership. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? I feel like, I don't know how it feels to you. Does it feel something where it's like, whoa, like everything's kind of like coming so fast? Because if you don't mind me saying, you're also a sector leader. So that's also for Crystal's sector, you know what I mean? So it's just like, you know, you've been kind of like, so it's like really cool how it's like God is placing you in those positions of leadership. Has there been any like surprises? Has there been anything that you're like, oh, I didn't expect this? Anything like good or bad with like leadership?
Um, I just want to say like God's timing and like the way He works things out is something that I've learned to trust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the moment I was baptized, I feel like it wasn't too far after that I became a part of the youth board.
Yeah.
And it was kind of crazy to me because I was like, God just washed me of my sins like the other day.
Yeah.
I was like, and then like I think the month after I was baptized, I joined like praise team. Like it was like everything was happening like so fast, but I also knew like that was meant to happen.
Yeah.
Like with every ministry, the way that it's all worked out, and I feel like I'm so blessed because I get a lot of confirmation from God.
Wow.
Like
Mhm.
a lot. Like even in these past couple of like weeks,
Mhm.
like I've been like, "Ugh, I can't even doubt that you're not with me. Because
Yeah.
you don't even let me try."
Mhm.
No, but yeah, and I think leadership, it's been a learning process, and I feel like I don't know how to explain it, but with leadership I just kind of try to stay true to who God wants me to be.
Yeah.
Like I try not to, like I won't ever I don't like liars, I don't like being lied to, so I won't ever try to like fake or like be someone that I'm not.
Yeah.
Because I'm new to it. Like I'm like no
Mhm.
one goes into this just being perfect. I'm like
Yeah.
I know I'm not perfect. I'm like I like please don't let me deceive
Mhm.
you. So
And I feel like you reflect that. Like we kind of know each other, but we are not like super close, but I feel like I'm able to read people well. Not like read people, but I can just tell, you know? And I feel like you just give this like super sweet, super honest, like genuine person. And that's really good cuz I feel like we live in a world where everyone's just putting up fronts, everyone's just painting a perfect picture of themselves, you know, and I feel like you're the opposite of that, and it's just beautiful. Like you're so humble, and you're so beautiful. Like you're literally the definition of beautiful, and I just wanted to say that.
oh, you're so sweet. I'm like, no, please don't.
The tears start rolling.
I'm like, ah, no, just kidding.
No, I wanted to go back a little bit though, cause yeah, I mean you did open up to us, you know, and I feel like that's really hard to go through, you know, and as a child, like you don't really know, you're a child, like you don't know how to like m- maneuver those emotions, you know, because you don't even know what's going on. So I mean, I'm glad that God helped you out, you know, and he allowed it to happen, and he's gonna turn it around for good, you know, like he's gonna flip it, and he's gonna use you to help other little girls that are going through it right now, you know. And it's strong, it's yes, it was hard, but it was for a purpose, you know. There's a verse that's like, you intended to harm me, but God turned it around for good.
Yeah.
And that's what he's doing for you.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be amazing.
Yeah.
And you're so strong.
Like thanks, because times I'll be like, oh.
No, yeah. No, it's hard. It is, but like I see you just climbing up, and it's just amazing. It's amazing. And one day, I mean, right now you're sharing, but it's going to be greater. It's going to be so much greater.
Man, yes. I mean, like with everything that's happened, I feel like that's why I'm so consistent, and it kind of gives me that discipline too to continue going, because I know what he brought me out of.
Yeah.
I know what he protected me from, and I know, like, I've been there, like I'm the one living it.
Yeah.
So it's like I've gotten to see like all the different things that I've been like a part of, or just like things in general I've seen. I feel like I don't like to be like, oh, like I've just been through a lot, but like I have seen a lot of things that kids shouldn't see. I had to be a parent when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't have been. I should have just been able to be a kid.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of different things that has like happened in my life, but I think that's why I am so committed to when it comes to things of God and like doing things of the Lord, because it was him who saw me at my lowest, met me there, and like continued and brought me back up, and like gave me that new sense of hope, who like was like, no, you like forgave me basically, in a sense, and I was able to repent, be baptized, and like be able to like walk in that. And it's been a process for sure. Like I was just thinking on the car ride here, I'm like, it's been like almost 3 years that I was baptized. So a lot has happened. I was like, it's 3 years. But I'm just like, I'm grateful though. I'm grateful that I can speak about this, because it gives me a new sense of like confidence too, because it's something that I've carried for so long on my own. Like my mom didn't know. My family didn't know. But it was like, it's given me just that sense of like, this doesn't have a like hold on me anymore. Like I don't think of myself in that way anymore. And it was like, and I was telling my mom, I was like, people can judge me if they want to. I judge myself. But at the end of the day, I have to walk in the forgiveness and the new confidence that God's given me. I was like, and so that's where I kind of am at this point. I feel like it's just been so cool, because like I'll go everywhere and they're like, God's with you. And I'm like, I know. Like I'm glad. Like it's glad that they pray it over me, but it just kind of always gives me that sense of like, I know you.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it shows how intentional he is too, because even in the conference, Sister Dacia's conference, she said like, if you're healed, you'll be able to talk about it. And this is you talking about it, like confirmation that you're healed and you're growing, And also, we were talking about NextGen, if we want to get into it. Yeah, like what was your PO? Because I know that was confirmation for you as well.
That was kind of like, I want to say, okay, I'll go like the night before NextGen, because I feel like that goes back into what she prayed over me. And so the night before NextGen, I was kind of at a place where I was just struggling a little bit, which is fine. Like it's okay to struggle. You're going to struggle. And I've learned that it's okay. Like don't be too hard on yourself. But I was like, Lord, I'm tired. Like I don't know if I'm doing anything right. I don't know if like this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And I do these prayers a lot, but I don't do it like for my benefit. But I'll be like, if I'm not where I'm supposed to be, if I'm not in a position, or if there's someone else who needs to be here, please let your will be done. Like please, like.
And that's important.
And that's where I see in leadership too, where it's like I want it to be where God's always going to be greater than me. Like, I don't ever want to be like, oh, I'm president, so I'm going to have you do this, 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 and this. Because it's just not me. It's not who I am. And so I was in one of those places. I was like, Lord, if I'm not doing it right, like, please. Like, and I was just like, I'm tired. I don't know if I'm doing it right, but I just pray that, like, as I continue going, I'm a light that shines solely for you and things of you. Which leads us to NextGen, which is like, I think it was like the day next. Like it was like, okay, wake up. I was in my prayer closet. I was like, okay, like time to go to bed. Okay, and then I wake up and I was like, oh, okay, today's NextGen. And I was also nervous because I was supposed to lead prayer, which is nerve wracking because I did it for a while. Like now we have Bible studies on Mondays, but I did it for a while where like for the church, like we'd have a noche de oración and I would pray then, but it was also so much easier. It felt like just me and God because Noche de Oración, like it's just a whole bunch of people who speak Spanish, so they don't really know what I'm saying. So it feels like I'm just praying normally. But I was like, no, the youth are gonna know. So I was like, oh, okay. And then so we were there, and I just remember, I don't remember much of the prayer. It was 5 minutes, so it was like, to me it feels kind of quick. But also being up there, I was like nervous. I was like, I'm trying to make sure I'm not going over time, but trying to make sure I'm saying what I need to say. So, but the only thing I remember is just saying, God, like, may tonight be a night of confirmation. That's the only thing I remember. Like, to this day, I don't remember anything else. But I remember that. And then later on, like, the speakers were coming, and I just remember praying, like, God, like, may one day I be able to, like, testify of everything you brought me through. I was like, one day I want to be able to be that person that someone can see and be like, God was with her and he's going to be with me too.
Yeah.
Like, if anything comes from today's podcast, like, maybe it just be like, God still heals. He still restores and he still, like, forgives.
Amen.
And so I just remember being like, yeah, maybe one day, like, I hope that I get to share my testimony. Brings us to today. No, but then afterwards at altar call, they were praying, and I was like, when we do altar call, I always try to go, because it's like, I never know what could be in my heart. Like, I could be hiding myself from something that's in there that I don't even know. Yeah. And so I prayed for a little bit on my own, and then I prayed for another young lady, and then I saw you, and I was like, this is gonna sound funny, but I was like, why is she crying? And so I was like, let me go pray for her. Like, again, we don't really talk very often, but I was like, that's my friend. Like, at district things, I'll be like, I don't really know any of these people. But I know, and I was like, okay, let me go pray for her. So I thought, like, I was praying for you and it was fine, and then they said to pray for your partner, and then you started saying, like, he knows you're tired. And I was like, as soon as you said that,
I feel the Holy Ghost.
Tears were like pouring down my face. I was like, how did she know exactly what I was just saying yesterday? And you were like, God knows you're tired, but he's with you. And like, and everything was just lining up. And I was just like, oh, like, was she there? Like, were you at my house? Like, how you know? And then so that like happened, and like after that you asked me to be on the podcast, and I was like, God works fast, man. Like, literally not even like, it was right before altar call where I was like, oh, like, I hope one day I can testify everything that happened to me. She's like, I want you to be on a guest on the podcast, and I was like, so it was one of those where I was like, I know I can't say no. Like, God, I was like, God, that was all you right there. Like, there's no doubt in my mind. I was like,
And it shows how intentional God is, because we had you on the list for a while, but like we just hadn't got to you yet. But then like God had a specific time, you know, and it was like perfect timing, you know.
Yeah, that's true, because like, since I'm the person that reaches out, like, sometimes I procrastinate, and then like, and I knew I had you in the back of my mind, like Crystal said, like, we wanted to invite you, so I was like, okay, I need to text her, but plot twist, God wanted me to ask you in the altar, and what better way, right? Like, that is so cool how it's like, it's so funny, because I was like, is this even appropriate? But I just have to ask you if you want to be in the podcast, you know, and I feel like it just kind of like led to more words like after that, so that is so cool, and I love hearing your POV, and praise God, you know what I mean? That's just the beauty of like being vessels, you know what I mean? So I praise God, and you know, that's why I'm very privileged that I have you as a friend, because you're just like the sweetest person ever, and you're someone that's like easy to talk to. And then also another thing that kind of like highlighted too was you're so supportive, you know what I mean? Like, even just like with us, you know what I mean, with the podcast, like, we always see like, Daniela, like this post, Daniela, like your story, and thank you for that. That is so beautiful, and thank you for your support, because like, sometimes you like, just one person, it makes the difference. You know what I mean? And even now you're wearing our merch from the Girl Get Up conference. You're wearing our merch, and it looks so cute on you, and I love the way that you styled it. And in general, like, I feel like if there's a service, you know, if you're able to make it, you go. You know what I mean? Because you were just at Decatur on Thursday, and then you're here now with like our podcast, you know. So, you know, thank you for the support and just being so open to like going and all that. So how do you like, you know, maneuver that? Because like, I know that it's good because, you know, you have your cousin and all that, but like, is there like anything that kind of like helps you to like go and like to these events? And the reason why I say that, because I feel like sometimes there's a lot of spiritual warfare and not wanting to go to these events. I feel like me and Crystal, we've had some testimonies where we're like, we just don't want to go. Like, is that you all the time? Because I feel like you're in all the events. You know what I mean? And I feel like I lack that. I like that. So I need to learn more from that. So like, what's kind of like, how do you, you know, have that desire to do so?
Well, I was like, I do show up everywhere. Well, I guess I can go first and like into how I maneuver it.
Yeah.
So I'm very involved here locally.
Yeah.
So, 'cause I am president, and then I'm on praise team. I work with children's ministry. I teach the juniors like on Sunday school, like not
Yeah.
like every Sunday, but I have that in the rotation.
Mm-hmm.
We do a lot of kitchen sales to raise funds.
Yeah.
And just I try to help anywhere I can being here, like anywhere they need me or anywhere I can be of service. I just have that kind of understanding with God, like please only allow opportunities to come to me, like because I'm also a yes person.
Yeah.
I go to everywhere. Like if you invite me, I'm like, okay, I gotta go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like, but I tell him all the time, I'm like, God, please don't lead me somewhere where I'm not meant to be.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like if that's not for me, don't put me in that
Yeah.
position. So that's why when things don't come to me, I don't really act much on it.
Yeah.
Because I know like God's protect me from something. I don't know what it is, but it's
Mhm.
something.
Yeah.
And then what I do is I do local first.
Yes.
So I do work with the juniors a lot, and they do have like most of their stuff that they do outside of Célula. Oh yeah, I'm also in Células. I help with the junior Célula. And so most of those times they do stuff like on Fridays or like once a month.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I know like when things like that happen, and like most of the youth stuff is also like on Fridays or like
Yeah.
weekend things. So I'll be like, no, I gotta stay local first.
Mm-hmm.
And like I get to like pour into them and just like kind of help them grow like in the ways that I can, but I ultimately let God do what he needs to do with me
Yeah.
to be able to do that for them.
Yeah.
And then so that's kind of how it goes. I like do everything local first.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I get chances, I try to like when I go to events, cuz I do like being able to receive. I feel like when I go to different events, my grandma always tells me this, and this is what I tell others, like you never know what blessing is there for you.
Yeah.
And so I like try to bring someone like I have my little carpool buddy. I won't say his name, but I drag him everywhere with me.
Yeah.
I'm like, we're going to this. Are you down? And he was be like, McDonald's afterwards. And then I was like, but I do that. And then sometimes I try to take different people like
Yeah.
locally, and I'll try to like, since I am like president, I try to like branch out and invite different people. But for whatever reason, like they won't go or they're like
Yeah.
not interested, and like I don't take heart to that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I try to find someone. Like I try
Yeah.
to like not go alone.
Yeah.
Also, because my grandma's like, "Vas a ir sola?"
Uh,
But no. So like one event, I went to GP, and like I got the opportunity. Like I always invite my siblings, but like, you know, they're like sometimes they're like, "Oh no, we don't want to." But like at that specific moment, they were like, "Yeah." So that's why you like never know what you get from inviting.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And like I
Yeah.
remember like being in a rush because I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna be late,"
Yeah.
and they said yes, and I was like, "Okay."
Yeah.
So I was like, "It's okay, we were late." late. And then so like I remember just taking them, and I try to make it an opportunity to kind of like get the youth to branch out more. But like I will say we're kind of like very like introvert. Like even me, like I'm
yeah.
super
Mhm.
introverted. Like I don't. Like it's funny because I'm never at home, but if I can just be at home all day, like I would be totally okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then my grandma's like, "No, you're never home." And I'm like, "Yeah, but I would want to be sometimes." No, but yeah. So I try. I really have that with me where it's like I like learning from other people too. I think that's why it's so funny because I'm like I like learning. I really do, and I like learning from different people, different perspectives. I like hearing
Yeah.
different testimonies or different ways that things have been interpreted that I may have read or may have not read.
Mm-hmm.
And then so I just like, and you can really get that when you're going to different events. Like yes, it's like a sacrifice. Like we're not the closest churches. Like we
Yeah.
do have some
Yeah.
distance,
Yeah,
some
that's true.
traffic.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
like there's definitely factors into it, but I feel like, and then I am someone too who always tries to go with expectancy in their heart.
Mm-hmm.
So I know I'm not going like just to go or just to like attend and she's here. Like I'm going
Yeah.
because I know like what if something's there
Yes.
that I can receive or something that I can give. Like
Yeah.
it works both ways. I think that's why a lot of times too I'll be like, is there anything you need me to do? Or like
Yeah.
anything you need me, like, cause it's just like, it's some things like I appreciate too. Like when people are like, is there anything you need? And I'm like, most times I say no, like just because like
Yeah.
it's okay. But but I know like others may need help too.
Yeah.
So I know that that's kind of like why I go to the events I go to, and like I kind of base it, like I'm not always at every event because I do like to take time to just like dedicate to my family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I try to manage, and I think it helps too that I don't work. Like I'm in
Oh,
school
yeah.
full time, but like this summer I like finally I get a break because
Yeah.
last summer I was doing school full
Yeah.
time,
Mm.
and so I kind of have more time, I would say, and it's all about how you organize your time
Yes.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's like I can be home and be a couch potato and not do
Yeah.
nothing and be okay,
Right.
but is that good for me?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of
Couch
how
potatoes crazy.
I
No, I
know.
am one. I can be one. I really can. It's like it's embarrassing, but it's okay. It's me. But yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I really love how you say that you always say like, Lord, like, let your will be done. Like, am I supposed to be here? You know, is this for me? Because that's really important. I feel like sometimes we try to take control and we try to do things and we're like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to, you know, but it's like that's where we always talk about analyzing ourselves, and that's where that comes in, you know, cuz you're like, is this your will or is this my will? You know what I mean? And that's really important. And I love that you're emphasizing it, because I feel like we say analyze yourself a lot, but we don't really
Yeah.
like explain what
Yeah.
that is, you know. And it's
Yeah.
kind of like asking God, like, is this your will? Like,
Yeah.
because if it's not your will, I don't want it, you
Yes.
know.
Yeah.
And that's really good. I love
Yeah.
that you brought light to that, because that's
Yeah.
important.
Yeah, that's really good because I feel like with outside things, like, yeah, like it's very important to also ask for that, discernment. Should I go to this place? Should I hang out with these friends?
Mhm.
But I also like how you bring it also in the spiritual, because like even in an event, you don't know if maybe there might be someone that it's not right, and then they project that on you. So it's like very real, both outside in the world and also like in a church. So that's also really cool that you're intentional in both your spiritual walk and also like,
Yes.
in your academics, and then like with your family and all that. So how has it been with like your family, since you mentioned that you invite your siblings? If you don't mind me asking that, like how do you maneuver that as well? Are you the youngest?
No.
You're the oldest?
I feel like I have to explain because my family's like very complicated,
Yeah.
like extremely. So I'm gonna try to explain it like quickly.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But if you have any questions, please stop me.
Yeah.
So basically I'd mentioned like my mom and my father, I call him my father, but biological father.
Yeah.
They were never married, but they had me, and then they had Diana, my sister. I said name dropped. It's okay. And then my brother.
Uh-huh.
And then so it was us three. And then after having my brother, they kind of like split for all the different reasons. And then my mom ended up marrying, I call him my dad. He's
Mhm.
technically my stepdad, but he was my dad. And because when he came into the picture, well, they knew each other from high school, but I didn't know him because obviously my mom was with my father. But she married my dad, and I want to say my brother was probably like, he was really young. I don't know the specific age, but he had to be like at least like 3 to 5, like around
Yeah.
that age. So like for me, that means I'm like at least like 6 or like 8. I don't know the age gap. I just remember it always being like that. Like I don't
Mhm.
remember my mom and my father living together, but I remember my mom and my dad.
Mhm.
And then after that, my father remarried, and she had already had 2 kids. So she had my older brother, who was a year older than me, and then my younger sister. I call them my siblings.
Yeah.
And then, because again, like it was around that same age time. And then she had my younger sister who was older than Nayanara. Sorry, I say her name. They'll be fine.
Yeah.
Older than Nayanara by a year, but younger than me. And then later, eventually, my mom had my baby brother. I call him a baby. He's like 12 now. But
He was a baby at
he
one
was a
point.
baby. I used to walk around saying, like, that's my baby. And, like, people would look at me like, and I'm like this 8-year-old, that's my baby. No, but then she had my baby brother, Lonzo. I love him. And then my father's side had my youngest sister, Sophia. And then I'll continue going because I love talking about them. But then my mom and my dad ended up divorcing. That's a different story in itself, but I still have love for both, and I still talk to both of them. Like, obviously, like I
Yeah.
talk to my mom, and then my dad's still my dad.
Mhm.
And then So then he remarried, and I love her. I love her so much. And then they had my baby August. So he's like not blood related to me, but he's still my brother. I count him as my brother.
Yeah.
And then I don't talk to my father anymore. I hope they stop procreating. No, but like not in a negative way. But I don't think I have another sibling on that side.
Right.
But yeah, so that's kind of like the family
Tree
dynamic that I have right now. But I'm grateful to God, and I say this because there was an instance where I like at some point I did talk to everyone. But something happened in my family that kind of triggered kind of like information of events happening. And I feel like God was with me through it all. And like that's where like I would say about that, like we found out certain information that was happening that had happened with my father and one of my closest family members, which kind of was like, oh. And then it kind of goes into like what I went through when I was younger. But then my sister, which I'm like, I crossed all my checks boxes, and she's comfortable with me speaking about it. But my sister had opened up, like when my family member said what she had to say about my father, it made my sister open up about what had happened to her also, which I didn't know had happened to her. But basically, one of our uncles on our father's side was molesting her as well when she was younger. And so she opened up and she told me, and I remember because I always try to include my siblings and stuff. So I was taking her to Bible study, and it was one of the first Bible studies I took her to. And we were on the way back, and she told me, and I was like, and remind you, I'm driving. So I was like, like, I remember just being like, oh, Lord, like, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
And then so she kind of opened up about that. And then it kind of made me like without a doubt, I kind of already knew, like, from what my family member had, like, kind of confessed that happened to her. I believed her.
Yeah.
And then when my sister said what she had to say, I believed her. And the reason I believed her so much is because of what happened to me when I was younger. Like, I knew, like, there was something wrong.
Yeah. And I feel like it's so important to believe because a lot of people don't believe and they brush it under the rug, you know, especially in Mexican homes. Yeah. Like, I feel like it happens a lot, you know, and nobody talks about it.
Nobody
you know what
does.
I mean?
Yeah. And it's something that I told my mom. I was like, it's just something so crazy because to this day, like, and I guess it's kind of testimony going towards later, but I'll just keep going. So basically, after that happened, my father was like, why would you say that, like, to my sister? And my sister decided she didn't want to go no more. Yeah. And the thing about me and my brother and my sister, like, we'd been going back and forth for so long. Granted, like, it was really toxic growing up there. Like, not even what just happened to me, but a lot of the words that were said, a lot of, like, the way that adults were acting with kids. Yeah. And it's kind of the reason I had to be a parent when I shouldn't have been. Yeah. So we kind of all got together and we were like, we're not going to do like back and forth. We were like, if you're not going to go, we're not going to go either. Like, because we didn't want that because we're just so close. And I thank God that, like, because my siblings and I have come a long way, but we were so close, and it was hard because my youngest sister's still over there. So it was really hard to make that decision, like, you know, we got to do this for us. Yeah. And but I'm grateful to God because I remember it's funny, like, I'm sorry, I cope with, like, humor, but I remember it was around the time I was working at Smoothie King and I was driving from work, and I was like, God, like, if there's people you don't want in my life or that aren't benefiting me, please remove them. Yeah. And that's when everything started happening, and I was just like, ooh. But yeah, and then so we ended up making that decision, and it was funny too because with my father, and I think that's why it cracked me when it like kind of like tickled me a little bit. I don't know if that's the right word, but at the conference Thursday when Dacia was talking about how her parents like didn't like, or her mom didn't let her go, or like that was their punishment. Like I've told stories of how, like, I used to have to sneak out to come to church, like, being with my father. Like, I would just wake up earlier than everyone else and be like, and just send a text like, oh, I'll be back. Like, I'm just doing this and this just to go to church. Wow. So it was like, oh, like, so it kind of gives you an idea of, like, what it was like over there. Like, it was very controlling. And then we kind of finally moved and we distanced ourselves. And I felt like where I felt like it was probably normal to feel like, oh, like resentment and hatred. I felt peace.
Yeah.
Like it was different for me because I was like, everyone was still kind of like confused on how to feel. But I feel like because I've had God with me through it all, like I felt at peace. I felt happy
Yeah.
because I knew like the circle that I have and the family that I have now is what benefits me. Like I love my family. Like when it comes to schooling, for the longest I didn't want to go to school here. I wanted to move. It was mainly to avoid those people.
Yeah.
And so like that's why when schooling came about and like the way everything worked out, I was like, no, but I love my family now. Like I love where we're at right now.
Yeah.
And it's cool too because I tell God all the time, and I've come to a realization like, yeah, they hurt me, but like now I'm like in a place where I do pray like that they change for the better. I do pray for that for them. It doesn't mean I'm going to go back to it.
Yeah.
But it just means like I still love them. I have love for them, and I hope that God changes them for the better. And I don't know what that looks like in the future, but what I know now is that God's got me, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Like that's all I need.
Yes.
And so so that's kind of like, I guess like the gist of it all. There's been a lot. There's been a lot that's happened, a lot that I've seen. And like,
and that's gross to be able to pray for someone that hurt you. You know, I know that probably wasn't what your initial thought was, you know, but I feel like it's a process to like go through all the emotions, and like doing it with God. Obviously he helps us, you know, and he leads us and guides us, and it's good that you have that boundary. Like you pray for them and you genuinely like love them, but you know you could not go back, you know, and it's not because you don't love them, you know, but that's a good boundary to have, you know, and it just shows that you've grown, you know.
Yeah, another thing I will say too is that I've missed there are certain people that I do miss. Like there was like my little cousins that I practically like helped raise over there, and then my little sister. But it was so cool, and I feel like it's like also testimony because I told God, like I would sit, and I don't know how many nights I was like in that very sanctuary during prayer nights, just being like, God, like protect them, be with them, keep them safe. And like I know one day I was like, may I like be able to see them again. I was like, but in your timing, if it's your will. I was like, I don't want to see them if it's not from you. And one of the people I missed the most was my when I missed the most, like specifically her, but I did miss her a lot, was my youngest cousin. She was the oldest of her siblings, and for us it was 2 girls and then my brother, and then for her it was 2 girls and her brother, but she was the oldest, so I resonated her with like a lot. And I kind of saw like towards the end, like I felt bad because I never really got to say bye to her, and because her parents were also split. And so but I ended up seeing her one day, and I remember just feeling so content. Because like where like, and it also goes back to God's timing, because if it was like early on, I would have been like freaked out. Like I would have been like, no, I can't talk to them, because just of like things that I saw whenever I was like, making the decision to stop speaking with everyone. But like the way everything coordinated, it was like her dad wasn't there. It was her mom, and I love her mom because like through it all, she was kind of like the only one that was like an adult for me, like someone who I could feel safe with being over there. And it was her mom and it was her siblings, and I just felt so content and so much joy because it's like God hears me. And like it took like, I think it was like 3 years. Yeah, because I'm 20. No, so it was 2 years. So it was 2 years that God's kind of just been working with me. And then I finally saw her, and I was just like, wow. I was like, this is crazy, because I told God, I was like, I don't want to see them if it's not from you. And then I finally was able to see them, and it encouraged me to continue praying for my sister. And then it was not that long ago that I got to see my youngest sister without seeing my father, without seeing like her mom. Like it was just her on her own, and I was just like, that's crazy. And I just remember giving her the biggest hug. Like granted, we still don't have like a like that ableness to reach out to her because of the environment she is in, but it just was so like calming to know like she's okay. And it was so it just continues to motivate me to be like, I'm gonna keep praying for her, that may God like really and I think that's what also made me learn that I need to love them and want better for my father, because it's like, if not for me, if not for my siblings, maybe be a better dad for her. And like it was really cool to see how God's still moving. And even like at my cousin's graduation, I didn't know it, but my family, like my father's side, was there.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, it's crazy how God works, because I didn't see them.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until later I figured out, because my sister told me, like, did you know they were there?
Mm-hmm.
And it just goes to show, like, God will, like, arrange the situation based. And it made me realize, like, he still has control.
Yeah.
Like, he wouldn't let me see them if I wasn't ready for it. And I know I'm not ready. So I was just like, that's so crazy to me. But it just kind of keeps, like, again, I go back to God really has really good ways of, like, confirming things for us.
And he hears your prayers. Like, you're right now, you're interceding for that part of your family, you know, and he keeps showing you that, like, he's working. Even though you're not there and you're not seeing it, he gives you reassurance, you know, that your prayers are working, you know, and it gives you motivation to keep interceding.
And it's cool and it's personal. Like, it's crazy because I said a lot of things today that I don't think most people know about me, but it's like, I just feel like I'm at a place where I'm so content.
Yeah.
And I'm just so grateful. And I feel like that's why I do, like, move the way that I move and act the way that I act. It's really molded me to who I am.
Yeah.
And, like, I found my identity in Christ, and I don't live in what I used to live in. I'm not the person I once was.
Yeah.
I've kind of, like, changed for the better. I've gone through what I had to go through.
Yeah.
And I know that it's, like, I don't know what comes next, but I know he's going to be with me, and he's going to guide me. And I don't know what the future holds, but I just have hope, and that's something I didn't have.
Yeah, that's beautiful, and it's so cool because, like, we're seeing it now, and we're super excited to see where God takes you, because you're still super young. So I just imagine, like, all the places that God will take you. So that's really beautiful, and you know, you're gonna have us here praying for you. You know, you go to the church in Fort Worth. Do you guys have an Instagram if you wanna shout it out?
Ooh, yes, hold on, let me. Okay, yeah, it's AFCC_YTH. It's really cool. But yeah, that's what it is. It's just,
I know, and you guys are such a good youth group. Like, I feel like you, like, the way that I see you guys, like, I haven't been to, like, a local service. Now that I'm realizing it, I feel like it's always because you guys host, like, a district event. I've been able to come to your church, and also you guys host Bible college, and then praise God that we are able to have our studio in your local church. You know what I mean? So this is where we film, and then one of your youth is Margarito, the one that helps us with the whole production. You know what I mean?
He's
so
behind the scenes right now.
So you see her always, like, looking because he's there. Yeah.
He's learned a lot about me today.
So we had already mentioned a church in Fort Worth. So just down the street, there's another one.
There's another one.
There's another one, which is where
away.
less than 5 minutes, which is where Daniela, you know, goes to, and then of course Margarito goes to as well. So you guys already will have two people that will receive you nicely.
I want to say something. Y'all had an event. What was it? The one I came to.
Oh, was it the young adult devotional night?
Yeah.
With Brother Jimo.
Yeah. Did you come?
Oh no, I didn't.
You didn't come.
Yeah.
I wanted to point this out because I don't know why, but I remember when I came, I actually wanted to come. I feel like I've been in the season where it's like you know, like, not that I don't want to be there, but, like, you know, my flesh and, like, just life, and I'm like, but I remember I really wanted to come, you know. I don't know why. And when I came, you could just feel such a beautiful atmosphere. And I feel like you don't always get that, you know, like, when you go to other places. But I wanted to point that out. I don't know what y'all did to prep for it or whatever, but it was such a beautiful atmosphere, and I'm very glad that I came. Everything was amazing. And
Thank you.
Yes.
Like, it was preparation. We did something differently for that specific event. I think each of us took a day, like, a turn to fast. So for a whole week, it was like a different person was fasting.
Yeah.
And on that Saturday, like, we came in person and we prayed, like, early in the morning too. So I was, like, all greñuda and like barely awake. But we were praying.
Wow.
And
That's
so it was cool. And then, like, a lot of things didn't happen the way that we had planned, but I was at the end of the day, like, really grateful because I believe it, like, it was what God wanted it to be. And that's okay. Like, it was flawed, but so are we. And then, but it was exactly what, and then even that event, like, Brother Jimo, like, he said some things to me that kind of also go into this confirmation. Because he was like, a lot of the times I do doubt myself a lot when it comes to just words that I've been like told, especially from that other side. So it was kind of cool that whenever he had like the opportunity, like whenever he had the opportunity, oh my gosh, whenever I had the opportunity, like for him to pray over me, and he made like an altar call about like parents, and it was crazy because like a lot of the times when I feel like I'm failing or I'm not doing something right, I go back to those words of like, you're not enough. And it was crazy to me because he goes, he says, and he made the altar call for parents.
Yeah.
So he could have said my mom or he could have said my father. But he said, he like, don't believe what he's told you. And then he went into saying like, don't believe the lies that you're not enough. And then he kind of went into saying like, what did he say? He said something. Oh yeah. He was like, be bold in the identity you have in God. Like he said something along the lines of like being in the identity that God has in store for you. So I was like, that kind of connected with me because it was kind of like, and he kind of was, I never realized how much kind of hurt I held from what had happened over there on that side until he mentioned it. I was like, this whole time, like I thought other people like were hurting more than me, which is like valid. They probably were, but it didn't dwell on my mind that like, oh, I think I was hurt too. So when he said that, I was like, oh, like this affects me too. So it was kind of like that realization, but I was like grateful to be able to just leave that there, like leave it there at the altar, like, and it was really cool. It was because, and then I like Brother Gmo. He's so good, and I'm just like,
he's so real.
Yes, he is. You guys can check out that episode with him because we had him as a guest. But definitely, I know what you mean. But no, that's awesome, and so if anybody wants to follow the page, they can keep updated with any services that you guys have. And just like Crystal said, she experienced it for herself. The beauty of the service. So that's really awesome. And thank you again for taking time out of your day. Luckily for you, it was nearby. You were one of the 3 that were nearby here. But because it's true, sometimes we have to make that sacrifice in our district to drive long distance. So I appreciate you taking time of your day and being here and sharing your testimony and just being that definition of faith over fear.
No, honestly,
I had to say that. I had to be
cheesy for a second.
Cheesy for a second, but we're gonna have their address and their Instagram in the screen and also down in the description, so you guys can follow and visit. But I think that's gonna be it for today's episode. So we're gonna go ahead and end it here. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time,
bye guys.